You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the February 5th, 2024 meeting of the Michigan City Board of Public Works and Safety. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good morning. I'd like to declare the Monday, February 5th, 2024 meeting of the Board of Works and Safety officially open. We have a quorum. We are missing one of our members. He couldn't be here this morning, but Candace is here and I am here. The first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from our January 25th hybrid Zoom meeting.
I motion that we add a meeting ending time of 10:05 a.m. and approve the meeting minutes as written with that correction.
I'll second that motion. So we have a motion to add the end of that meeting as 10:05 and accept the rest as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Next on the agenda is an opening of quotes for the 2024 Michigan City Sidewalk Replacement Project. Brad?
Good morning, Board. Brad Minnick, Haas and Associates. I had solicited quotes from 6 different vendors back on January 25th after the approval from the board to do so. So you should have received bids today if you would want to call for any additional bids.
Yes. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to submit a quote for this project that hasn't already? Seeing none, we may proceed.
Mr. President, can you do a motion just to close the quotes?
I'll request a motion to close quotes.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Quotes are closed.
Thank you. And just for the record, the 6 quotes that Mr. Minnick solicited were from Deutscher Construction Union, Mills Concrete, Vertical Custom Creations, Reith Riley, Milestone, and LaPorte County Project Management. That's correct, Brad, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. So the first quote I'm going to open is from Reith and Riley. The amount of $349,431.80. The second is from Milestone Constructions North, Inc. It's in the amount of $282,452. Third is LaPorte County Project. It's in the amount of $102,308. 102,308.00. The fourth is from Woodruff and Son. And this will be the final. $181,812.36. Mr. President, I would request that you refer these to Mr. Minnick and myself for review. We solicited 6, only 4 submitted.
Okay. These will go then, we need a motion to it.
Yes, please.
I'll request a motion to take the bids to Amber and to the city engineer.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Then those will come up at our next meeting for vote. Next on the agenda is a request from Councilman Don Prismalinski regarding directional signals.
Morning, board members, City Councilman Don Prispolinski, and there is no address on this request, but what the address is, because the address was omitted, it's at the corner of Barker Road and Franklin Street, right on the corner there by Al's Supermarket, okay? And what it is the signs that are up above by the street signals that it says turn on green only signs, but also on there, there's a green, should be a green circle indicating the green light, okay? And all those are, the green light portion is missing on all of them. So we're just requesting to get those signs replaced. Or if they can get a new green circle and have them that put that on there, that'd be fine also. But that's what we're requesting. It was actually a citizen that came to me. They couldn't be here today, so I'm representing the cause.
Is it in all directions, north, south, east, west?
Yeah, there's 4, I believe, 4 signs up there. And all 4 directions are missing that green circle on the sign.
They were there before, but
Yeah.
they're not now?
Yeah, because you can see on the sign, there's a circle there and something's missing. And what's missing is the green sticker that was on there. Yeah, Mr. Beatry, I'm assuming they were there before. I never caught my attention, but it caught the citizens' attention and then they called me for it. So, and I've seen those signs elsewhere up and down Franklin Street and they have the green circle on them. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Brad, can you address that?
Yeah, yes, this is a duplication of a later agenda item raised by Dakota Euler. And the signs are at all 4 directions, but they're just faded due to the sun exposure over the years. So I had talked to Sean Smith of the street department. He's going to be able to order the signs and put them up in the next 2 weeks. Weather dependent. So he has the capability to do that.
All right.
And then if we want to touch on the second part of the request, the warning pole on the median at 11th and Franklin Street.
Right.
So that is a decorative bollard on the concrete median. And it was busted off, presumably during the last snow event. And I've already notified Nick D that it should be replaced under the contract. So that just goes on to the growing punch list that we discussed early last month. So that one will be addressed as well.
So that punch list has how many hundred items?
It's about 180. So
hopefully this won't be at the bottom of the list.
right. So my request would be that both items be removed from the agenda. They should be addressed before the next meeting.
Or we could leave them on the punch list and make sure that they are done by
Well,
the next.
the punch list is coming back up in May
Oh, for Nick T?
for Nikki. Yeah, we had tabled it because of the length of it. We had tabled it at our January meeting, So that'll just be revisited in May as they continue to work off the punch list.
So we'll automatically see it in May anyway.
Correct, unless they remedy it before then. But in terms of the signage that Don was talking about, though, that should be done before our next board meeting.
Well, I don't know. How do you feel about it, Candace? I mean, we ought to leave the first request on until the next meeting so we can review and make sure
Yeah,
that's been completed.
I
Then
would-
let the NICD one go till May.
I would motion that we table the first request until the next meeting to give the street department an opportunity to correct it.
I'll second that.
If I could ask that the board approve the action to let Sean Smith and the street department order the signs and replace them.
Oh, of course.
And then I can confirm when I come back at the next board meeting that it has been completed.
Okay, you want to amend your motion?
So, yeah, what we've done in the past is the board can approve it and then we'll just put it on our pending items list to make sure it was actually done.
Okay. So then in that case, I make the motion that we approve the purchase and put this on our pending items list to be brought up at our next board meeting.
Okay.
Okay, and before I second that, I'll ask Don if he has anything to add.
Yeah, so with the Ballard, I'm gonna call it a Ballard, that pole. Yeah, that'll come up at the next meeting also. Is it gonna be done by the next meeting?
They have
The one at 11th Street.
approximately 180 items on the punch list, and I notified them last week to add this to it.
Okay. And my response to that is that's coming right into our downtown area. It's busted off. It looks unsightly to me, because I'm thinking we're trying to make our downtown area look nice. That, I think, should be replaced within a couple of weeks by the next board meeting. Otherwise, if we're waiting until May, we're gonna wait 3 months to get this pole that's this high. And it's got a reflective marker on it, right? And it's there for one purpose, so nobody hits that concrete median, which these other medians have been hit already. So the board can do what they want, but I would think that we'd want to get this done right away. Oh, and just to add another thing, where Dakota Euler's name's on here, that's just a repeat. I had asked to have that taken off, so I don't think Dakota's gonna be here today, so just to let you know.
Okay,
So board, what I might suggest is that we do a letter from the Board of Works specifically to NICD to ask if they could put this as a priority.
That'll be fine.
okay, then let's go back. Did you get all that, Candace?
Well, will we do those as two separate motions?
They're
let's
separate,
do
they're
that.
separate.
Let's
So the
do that.
first one has already been approved, so we can do this one as a second motion.
Then I would motion that the Board of Works issue a letter to NICD encouraging them to address this as quickly as possible.
And I'll second that. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Yeah, Mr. President, if I could just say one more thing. That's a safety item. That Ballard being missing with the reflective tape on there. So I'm requesting that the Board of Works send NICD a letter stating that this is a safety item that's busted off. I think it's their responsibility that if there's an accident there, they're responsible for the accident. So I'm requesting that the Board of Works send them a letter so we get this thing done and get it done expeditiously. Thank you.
And that's what we just did. And the second motion was in regard to the Barker Road and Franklin Street. And well, apparently Sean Smith is going to handle that within the next 2 weeks. But we would like to keep it on the agenda so that we can, at our next meeting, we can see that that's been done. So I'll entertain a motion.
It was already motioned.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
We did that one already?
Mm.
Got lost.
That's okay.
It's fairly simple.
Wait, you need to second it.
I'll second it.
Yeah,
In favor?
Aye.
I'm saying aye.
thank you,
Aye.
Kim.
For a simple item, that one got complicated.
It did.
Next on the agenda is a request for filming. Kelsey Bunner Bowls LLC is requesting to utilize city property to shoot their film Bowls and to use the city of Michigan City as the location of their story. Is anyone present to address that?
So, Mr. President, what I may recommend is that we table this, and specifically, this representative came before this board last year, just to kind of refresh everybody's memory because you were not here. And at that time, the board asked for specific locations of street closures, sidewalk closures, and specific details were given at that time that this board could approve. Attorney Beal in my office reached out to Ms. Bunner last week and asked the same question. What specifically are you going to ask for closures, the dates? And again, the email back that he just received a few minutes ago, it still doesn't give those specific details. So I'd ask the board to table this, allow Attorney Beal an opportunity to reach out to Ms. Bunner and get the exact details so that we can bring it back to this board for approval. And if there are those exact details, we'll also need the certificate of liability as well at that time.
That was going to be my question, any liability issues. And I'm just curious about, I haven't seen any, but are there any relevant ordinances that were passed by city council referencing something like this?
No, I'm not aware. The only other thing I can think of is the park department. I'm not sure if we have their approval as well, if anything is going to be down on park property. We would also need their blessings, but I don't have anything specific ordinance wise.
Okay. Yeah, because she was not only asking for parts of Franklin Street, but she was asking for park department property and even a private residence out on Cleveland Ave.
And we wouldn't have jurisdiction for that at all.
So to me, there's just a whole lot of potential red flags that are out there that I think tabling is probably a good idea.
I would agree, because in this request, there's like no specifics on if they're closing the entire street, if they're utilizing one portion of the street, if they're utilizing a block. And I feel as a board, we need those specific details in order to consider it and send it to the police department. So I would make a motion that we table this until our next board meeting to give both parties a chance to hammer these details out.
I'll second that. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, and motion passes 2-0. And the Dakota Euler is the same issue we just dealt with, is that correct?
But Mr. President, I believe Mr. Euler is here and raised his hand as well and wanted to speak.
Good morning, Honorable Board of Works members. Dakota Euler, 718 Emma Street. I would like to take a moment to thank Don for addressing the issue. I did want to bring to your attention over the weekend, I found that there were also those same signs that were in the state of disrepair at 400 North and Cleveland Ave. And if that is under your jurisdiction, if those could be added as well.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Can you take a look at that as well?
Off the cuff, I believe that was part of the agreement we made with LaPorte County last fall to exchange streets for snowplow and maintenance efficiencies. So I believe that's under county jurisdiction, but I'll have confirmation for that at our next meeting as well, please.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense that 400 North and Cleveland Ave would be a county responsibility. So thank you, Mr. Euler, and thank you, Don, for bringing that to the board's attention. Next on the agenda is the payroll docket and the claims docket. And in keeping with past practice, I think we asked that this be, if there were no questions, that we just pass them both by voice vote. Do you have any questions or issues? Anyone in the public like to address the payroll docket or the claims docket? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept as presented.
And I'll second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next on the agenda is vendor license for Jesus Tapia for Tacos My Friend.
So, Mr. President, Mr. Tapia is present, but after the last Board of Works meeting, Skylar York and myself met with Mr. Tapia to discuss his request. Good morning, sir. And at that time, we discussed with Mr. Tapia two things. One, either he gets a year license and understands that he still has to, move the truck, even if the weather's, not favorable. Or he could come back to this board, let's say in April, and maybe get an approval for a license then when the weather was more favorable. So Mr. Tapia at that time shared with Mr. York and I that he'd prefer the year license, that he has some established client that he wants to maintain through various points during the work week. So he would prefer the year license, but he understands that he'll have to move the truck at the close of the business day. Is that correct, sir?
Fine. Yeah.
So that resolves the issue.
Yes, and then the board could vote on it.
Okay. Given the new information, I'll entertain a motion to renew the license for Jesus Tapia.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations.
All right. Thanks so much, guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I don't see, wasn't there another pending item on here that didn't make the agenda? Well, wasn't there an issue with the ADA signs?
It's on here.
It is?
I think, yeah. You skipped it.
I don't have it on my copy.
So I think there was an updated agenda form.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I didn't see that. That one wasn't on my agenda. I apologize.
Okay, good catch.
Under unfinished business, replace ADA signage. Councilman Don Prisbalinski is requesting to replace ADA signal signs on crosswalk poles throughout the city. Again, Brad?
Okay, at the last Board of Works meeting, I offered to just kind of reset this one. So this came before the board on September 5th of last year as requested by Councilman Prisbalinski. It was item number 2, replace ADA signs on crosswalks pole throughout the city. And as a result of that, I had solicited a quote from our traffic signal contractor, and that had came in at $1,710 at our last meeting. Mary Angie requested that this be an opportunity for an engineering intern to possibly put those signs up. So I had requested the street department to solicit a quote from their signage vendor. Excuse me. And Sean Smith provided a quote from Michael Todd Industrial Supply. And that was received on January 29th for material only. So that was $441. So there was a savings there, with the understanding that it's only the sign. The city would have to provide the labor to install the sign. And then you should also have in your packet, Attorney LePage had requested the location of the crosswalk signs. Is that in the packet as well? That shows every intersection that's signalized across the city, and then the signs that need to be replaced because of fading. And that total was 18 signs out of 141 within the city. So, and then the final piece of the packet should be the proof of funding from the controller's office, verifying that the funds are available. So my request to the board this morning would be to approve purchase of the signs by the city, and then how the city chooses to install them, I'll work that out either with the street department or with the engineering department
Okay,
for a cost of
$441.
$441 for materials.
Okay, so that's like a $1,300 savings if the intern idea works out.
Correct.
Any comments from the public? Candace, any comments?
I will make a motion to approve that purchase for signage for $441.
And I'll second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-0. Thank you for your work, Brad. Next on the agenda, on my agenda anyway, is Terry Greetham, Special Events Coordinator.
So Mr. President, at the last meeting, we tabled this to give me an opportunity to work with the vendor to add some additional language to essentially protect the city. The vendor agreed to put this language in the contract, so it is ready for approval at the board, for this board at this time.
Okay, and this is funded by Boyd Development Funds. And we got what we needed.
Yes.
Okay. Would anybody in the public like to address this item? Any public comment? Candace, any comments?
No.
We'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion that we approve the amended contract.
I'll second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have fireworks in 2024 and 2025. Next on the agenda is a traffic control device request. Ryan McGrath is requesting the installation of a mirror for blind traffic at the new subdivision of Harbor Point. Could you come to the microphone, please?
Let's meet at park instead of him. I'm his neighbor. That's fine.
Oh, come.
Well, that's fine. Yeah. You can, either one of you or both.
He doesn't want to park.
Okay.
I don't. Morning. I'm Mary Ann Gustafson. I live right next door to Ryan. We've been living there for 2 years. We have a new home. And we came to the board before to try and get there was no speed limit sign on Kruger. And we wanted a hidden driveway sign. So you agreed to get the miles per hour, which is 20 miles per hour, which honestly does nothing. We're on the top of a hill. I can see Lakeshore Drive when we're trying to get out of our driveway, but right, you can't. The cars come. We're gonna get T-boned. So Ryan suggested a mirror, which I think is a great idea, because then at least we can see who's coming up the hill. Now, I know you said something about a liability. I'm not sure what that would be. Snow on the mirror or something, they said. But I don't understand why we just can't get a mirror and then we can at least see people coming because we're gonna get T-boned. You know what I mean? The 20 mile an hour does nothing. I can tell you, the motorcycles up and down that hill all summer, cars in the winter. I mean, it would be for our safety. And there's another home gonna get built this summer. So there'll be 3 of us there. And, you know, even my kids, I tell them when they're leaving to be careful because they come up the hill, they can't see us and we can't see them. But the mirror would be a great help for us.
Hey, thank you. And we talked about this at our last meeting. I think the issue of liability was brought up by the engineer, by Brad. Brad, I'd like to hear from you now.
So, just to revisit, we talked about the liability of a mirror, being a non-standard, device in the manual on uniform traffic control devices, which is basically our guidance document for, highway signage and pavement markings and so forth. So neither a mirror nor a blind driveway are endorsed, I guess, if you want to say, on the manual and uniform traffic control devices. There's a potential concern that regarding a blind driveway sign, that the sign may provide a false sense of security to those individuals. If there is a sightline restriction from a roadway or driveway, the responsibility of achieving adequate sightlines lies with the owner of the intersecting road or driveway. So, while we can't prevent the resident or residents from installing a mirror, it's not something I believe the city should participate in. In the event the mirror were to be damaged, the city would have some liability and exposure there, I believe. And similarly with the blind or hidden driveway not being available in the menu of signs in the MUTCD, again, it's something that would expose the city to liability, I believe. I'm not denying the challenge because I visited the site and I would expect that additional traffic in the summer occurs. But going back to that technical guidance, that's the position of the manual.
Okay, so basically the technical provisions of the manual don't address these, so they are non-standard. So the city should not be involved in installing them. The city has no objection to private owners installing them and accepting all liability. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. We would expect it would be installed on private property, not public.
The property is it's across the street. Whose property is that? That's the woods behind the zoo. That's not our property. You know, this is a safety issue. All right, what's gonna happen if one of us gets T-boned? Are you gonna be liable for that? Now, we're just trying to prevent one of us getting killed. Okay, I'm telling you, just go, we're at the top of a hill, the cars come up, no one's going 20, I can tell you that right now. Sit on my porch and watch all these bikes all summer, up and down the hill. All the traffic going back and forth to that beach. All we want is a mirror so we can see them coming. Okay, don't forget these blind driveway signs. Nobody listens to any of that stuff. I want a mirror that we can protect ourselves and our kids and my grandkids coming in and out of my home. And there's another home going to go up. There's 3 of us going to be there. That's not our property across that Kruger Street. That's the city's. So I can't put the sign by myself there. You know, we're just trying to protect ourselves. I mean, it's a safety issue.
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm hearing from Brad is the city can't install one on city property either.
But why?
Because of liability issues.
It's a safety issue. It's a safety issue for us. I don't understand this. No one lived up there before. It was just a hill.
Mr. President, if I may, could you leave this on the pending one more meeting? Let me speak with Mr. Minnick about this. Let me just review it. I'm just thinking about maybe another alternative in the back of my mind here, to kind of vet through.
All right, I'm just telling you, a sign's not gonna help us at all. The 20-mile-an-hour sign's doing nothing.
I hear you.
No one pays attention to deer crossing, blind driveway. I mean, come on, you all drive in this city. You pass these signs 100 times a day. It doesn't mean anything. But I just want something so we don't get hit.
I agree with you, and I understand that. Candace?
As do I. I make a motion that we table this item until the next meeting.
Thank you.
I'll second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. This motion is tabled until our next meeting. Next on the agenda is EPA soil sampling. Alan Gerald, US EPA, is requesting permission to conduct soil sampling on city-owned parcels located on Green Street.
Oh, Mr. President, I request this remain on the pending items list. I'm still waiting to hear back from the attorney from the EPA with regard to a question that I asked.
So you want to table it or just leave it on the pending list? Or
Just let's leave it on the pending items list.
okay. Candace?
I make a motion that we keep this on the pending items list.
Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. 2-0, it stays on the pending list. Next on the agenda is public comment. Anybody like to address the Board of Works? There's an online comment.
Good morning, board members and attorney and clerk at Councilman Prezipolinski. This is Tommy Kolovic from 1316 Ohio Street. I got a little something to complain about. This has to do with the 3 traffic signals that on 11th Street that NICTY put in. The first they had them all 3 of them for the flashing red. Then they that was really bad because people don't realize that's the 3-way stop there. You know, they took driver's education out of the schools about 13 years ago. And I know Doug Beachy, he told us that he was issued a citation for running that light at 11th and Franklin. But they switched the one at 11th and Washington back to a flashing red. Now, but the other 2 are still the green, yellow, and red. They need to switch that, keep the one, both the green, yellow, and red. When they change the flashing red, the pedestrian crosswalk signals don't work there. I've been taking my walks there every day. So all 3 of those need to be the green, yellow, and red. Thank you.
Should we just ask that be placed on the agenda?
Brad has something he wants to say.
So the one signal he was talking about, defaulted back to flashing red at Washington 11th last week. And I notified Midwestern Electric to come out and take a look at it, and they were on site earlier last week to reset it. So occasionally they do go out of service and they go into a flashing red condition for all 4 directions. So that's what happened, or in this case, 11th Street, 3 directions, with 11th Street being only eastbound. So when there's a problem with it, it goes to flashing red, and Midwestern was out to look at that problem. So, and if it persists, it will remain on the punch list until it's resolved. So,
Okay.
the project that keeps giving.
Don?
Yeah, Councilman Don Prezipolinski, and if I may, I just want to bring the board up a little bit on this particular issue. And I had talked to the previous Board of Works and the previous mayor about this. And these are the railroad crossings at Woodland Ave, the C&O crossings at Woodland Ave, Carroll Ave, and Risky Ave. And especially the one and also Greenwood Ave. But especially the one at Woodland Ave. If you remember how bad the crossings were at Ohio Street and Tilden Ave, and we had to shut those down for a while. Well, the one, especially at Woodland Ave, is getting to be in that condition. Now, the whole process to get the railroad involved, and Attorney LePage is aware of this because we've had discussions about it, is you have to get a hold of C&O Railroad. You have to get a hold of the U.S. Senator in the area, because they're the ones that deal with the railroads. Congress has nothing to do with the railroads. It's the U.S. Senate that deals with the railroads. Anyway, in speaking to the previous board, I asked them to send a letter. The mayor at that time said that, yeah, he'd send a letter, and then they said, yeah, we'll send it in May. This coming May. Well, he's out of office, so that means nothing now. But what I'm referring to is that I would like to see this maybe get put back on the agenda to get this moving so we can get these crossings fixed. Because, and I thought about it more and more, and that's right by the barns where the school system has their buses at. So these buses are running over those tracks day in and day out, probably doing some damage to them. The residents are driving over those tracks on Woodland Ave, and they're bad. And maybe what we should do, and I'm requesting that we did, just like we did, I think, on Tilden Ave and Ohio Street, put slow down signs, rough railroad crossings for people to slow down so they don't destroy their vehicles and break tie rods and have flat tires and things like that. Yeah, and I know that Ernie brought this up to me, I don't know, 10 months ago. So anyway, just wanted to bring that back to the board's attention so we can keep that in front of us and get those repaired sooner than later. Thank you.
Is this just the CXO we're dealing with? What road company?
Well, the CSX
CSX.
Railroad, yeah, CSX Railroad, not C&O. See, it used to be C&O, but now it's CSX, yeah.
So do we want to place that on the agenda?
You can, it was previously placed on the agenda, and and Councilman Preselinski, I'm not sure what the last mayor did or did not do on it because I was not CC'd on anything. So it's really hard to go back and reconstruct what may have happened. So my recommendation is maybe start fresh.
It sounds like we probably ought to do that, get it on the agenda, and the mayor will need to know.
And the other thing I'll do is I'll reach out to Sean Smith and just check to see about if he does have the signage and
Rough process.
Yeah, and so if we
that we can do.
Brad, you can reach out to him too. Okay.
Ernie Hollahan, 302 Gladys Street. I did confront the previous mayor on this. I confronted the council. I confronted Mr. Marvin. He sent me a letter where he had sent a letter to the railroad, and nothing has come about yet. It just keeps gradually getting worse and worse. And I won't even go down there anymore. I go around to Jackson Street and detour it because it's so bad. I don't want to destroy my vehicle, so I don't go that way anymore. But another issue that I called and talked with the mayor's office about, I had talked with the previous mayor and nothing had got done. Tilden Ave. There are 2 manholes that are totally sunk down, and you have to detour over in the other lane to get around them because they're so deep. And I've been after this years now. I brought it up to council meetings. I brought it up to the previous mayor, and nothing has been done.
Where are those on Tilton Ave?
It's the one that's right at Garfield.
Garfield?
Yeah, we turned to go on Garfield. It's right on the corner of it. The other one is up closer to the tracks. The other one is not quite as deep as the Garfield one, but Garfield is real bad. I mean, it is.
So they're relatively close together.
Yeah, they're relatively close together. And then you got numerous ones around town that are totally plugged. Barker and Dewey. That one's always filling up when it rains there. Just a big old puddle there. It doesn't drain at all. So I thought I'd bring that up again. I had some other issues now. Oh, I did bring up Risky Ave. As far as the line painting, you know, as you come across Risky going north, you have to jog over for your lane. Well, unfortunately, people from out of town don't know that because the lanes aren't painted there anymore. And one guy almost hit me head on coming across. In fact, it happened twice. I thought they were going to hit me, sitting there waiting. So you can't even see the lines.
Okay.
And that should be double yellow lines there and a cross line to where you stop to wait for traffic. And that's typical all over town, just about, with the lines not painted. They have totally faded away. And the last excuse I got from it, they had no paint, so they couldn't paint them. I don't know. But it is very dangerous there at Risky because they have to jog over to get in their lane, and some people don't know that.
Okay.
I did see one accident there, well, about 3 weeks ago. But this was due to a young feller coming around and turning too fast and he lost it and hit that telephone pole and broke the telephone pole right off.
Well, thank you. And I know this is the time of year when everybody's looking at potholes and they're all over the place, and that it's a common issue that every city's dealing with, but
Another issue I was gonna bring up,
yeah.
I will call street department when I leave here, but on Warnke Road, right across the tracks, there is a deep hole. They filled it last year when I called them because it's right in the driving lane. And you have to swerve to miss it because it's about that deep. And it needs filled again. And then right across from Caliber Collision, the whole side of the road is totally potholes. You have to jog over to go around those. But I know it's a lot of potholes around town, but this one is on Warnke is very severe. Thank you.
I appreciate you bringing it to our attention. And as I'm sitting here listening to you, I'm seeing Brad writing like crazy over there. So he's written down on every spot you mentioned. Thank you. Anybody else in the public? Or comment? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Were we gonna get updates from Parks and Recs?
Oh, I don't have
From
those on
Harry.
my agenda either.
We also have station block representative here. They may want to, Skylar, I don't know if you wanted to present anything on that today. No, nothing. Okay. Terry, did you want to give an update? Okay.
Good morning, Terry Greetham, Michigan City Special Events. I thought I was going to get out of here without having to give an update. That's
Sorry.
You're fine, you're fine. Just a couple of quick updates. We have opened up registration for all 4 of our parades, the St. Patrick's Day Parade, the Kitty Parade, the Patriotic Parade, and the Festival of Lights, and we actually have quite a few entries already in for all 4 parades, so that's a great start for this year. We're launching our 2024 partnership program. We've already talked with most of our partners from last year, and it seems like all of them will be returning as financial partners and have several meetings lined up already for some new partnerships. So that's looking great. I spoke with Bill Knight, the owner of the Sand Lovers, who are our partners for the Singing Sand Sand Sculpting Festival. We're very close to having our complete lineup of professional sand sculptors for the festival. Hopefully by the next update, I'll be able to announce that. And thanks to the hard work of our volunteer music director, Tim Bauer, it looks like our Oktoberfest music lineup should be complete by March 1st. So we will have, it looks like 46 bands over the 4 days. And unfortunately, we've had to turn away about 30 bands who have requested to be a part of it. But it's a good thing when everybody wants to be a part of our party. So
That's great.
other than that, that's it for special events. If you have any questions.
No.
Okay, and then I did receive a note from Park Superintendent Shannon Eason that they do not have an update for today, but they will have one for the March meeting.
Thank you. Next on the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry.
David Albert, Clarendon Council. Just to give you guys a quick update, we've completed the aggregate piers for the garage. And so you'll be seeing equipment is actually being removed from the site today. They're demobilizing. And then the next crew will be coming in to lay out and dig the foundations for the footings. That'll be starting, we'll lay out this week and excavation next week. So
Saw that this morning.
Yep. So making good progress. Still shooting for precast starting to come into the city and staging at the old St. Anthony's end of this month, early March. And then the pieces will be shuttled from the Franciscan lot to the site. And that's where we'll be working with Mr. York and Corporal Wright because it's going to be large pieces coming down Wabash and onto 10th Street. So yeah, that's the update.
Exciting stuff.
Yep, I'll be here for any questions, on the monthly basis. And if there's anything else that you guys want as far as information, just feel free to reach out to me and I can include that on the monthly update.
Thank you.
All right.
Anything else? I think I have an updated agenda now. We've already done public comment. Board comment?
None.
Then I think we're going to try to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Thank you.